Hope Channel, changing lives.
The Bible emphasizes the importance of parents making sure that they train the child to honor God, they train the child to know the scripture, they train the child to just have a great relationship with God, as well as ultimately providing for their needs. And the question now is, what happens when the parent fails? What are the consequences? What are some of the dire situations you may find yourself in if you do not fulfill this very important role of being a parent? My name is Evie, and I welcome you to another exciting and educative episode of Real Talk here at the studios of Hope TV Ghana. As usual, it's always a privilege coming into your homes every Wednesday to bring you a very interesting episode of Real Talk, where we share real life stories from real life people discussed by real people. Today is no different. I can't do this by myself as usual. I have people in the studios that will help me. People that are ready to have the conversation. They are not shy to say what's on their minds. And today we are going to have this very important topic on parenting the godly way. I'll go ahead and introduce my guests to you before we go into the story. So to my immediate right, I have a gentleman called Solomon Kofi Boachi. Solomon, how are you doing?
I'm fine. And what about you?
I'm good, thank you. How has your week been? And also, what do you do?
Right. The week has been so good by God's grace, and everything is going on fine.
Thank God.
And I'm at Valley View University studying theology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can see why you have a Bible.
Yes, yes.
You're ready to give us your quotations.
Yes, the biblical perspective.
Exactly.
And then the worldly perspective.
Because here at Hope TV, we do nothing without Christ. So this is very on brand.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Next to Solomon, I have Abigail Adra Efrie. So it just dawned on me that the two people I have in the studio all have names from the Bible. Abigail, how are you doing today?
Please, I'm doing very well by God's grace.
We thank God. I heard you're studying midwifery.
Yes, please.
How is that going?
Oh, it's going great by God's grace.
Is it difficult?
Nope. I've done a lot of deliveries, so.
You have? You delivered babies?
Yes,
how was
about
that experience like? I was 6.
Yeah.
Oh, that's impressive. So how is it like when you the baby comes out and you're holding it and you have to bathe it or clean it up? How is that experience?
Well, my first delivery, I was afraid.
Of course.
Yes, but the other ones that followed, I was able to do it, and they don't leave you alone to do it. Okay. You get assistance from the other midwives, so it's going well.
Oh, we thank God. That's a very noble and very interesting career. I think you're doing an amazing job.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
You're welcome to the show, Abigail.
Thank you.
So before we read our story, we'll have to go for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll go into the story. But before then, remember we are live on Facebook and YouTube, Hope TV Ghana. And so we want the conversation to be very interactive. So please go into our comment sections and leave your thoughts, your comments, whatever that you think about the story under the comment section, so that we can have an interactive show. We'll be right back after the break. Do not go anywhere. This is Real Talk.
Pristia Central Asia Safono Etu Safre will be Beyonce. One make a woman 90 years anniversary and say on Yankupon and Yam. Jumedian Becoso Ewo SDA Basic School for 29th March and upon Kuno. Jumedian in a sword Samne se, Yaratua Fapemneso, and feared your Kuno war a Krajia Jumamu. Kai se, where Jumedia you know, war by your house screening. I'll be a free, hot work, near clean up exercises, so because so, dear boy upon my damn pa. Empenifo kuku jama wade wani onyam beta dwumadie yi echi bi ne nana ntabu apra watoso enai Christian Yeman nana no matena nkonya Pastor Dr. Emmanuel Kobina Jr. So for Ponda West Central Ghana Conference ano enyumtofo wato nsafra wonne Cheba for Mensa Victory Voices and enyumtofo akuo a wowo asafo no mu nyina Sofo adwumadie yi si na so ne Osofo Emmanuel Apia Pentel beka ye ho ne ani emfie duokro afi nhye onyankopon enuonyam nyame hye wo se obeba
Welcome back from that quick break. We are still in the studios of Hope TV Ghana, coming your way with Real Talk. Before we went on the break, I introduced my guests to you. I have Solomon Kofi Boachi with me and Abigail Adra Efriye. And today we are going to look at a story titled When Wealth Replaces Wisdom. So it says, Dear Real Talk, I always believed that God blesses a man with wealth. It should reflect in his home, not just in riches, but in values, discipline, and good upbringing. But what I see in my own household makes me question everything. I worked hard to build a life of comfort for my family. I started from nothing, struggled through the toughest times, and finally, by God's grace, I became a man of means. My wife no longer had to struggle. My children never had to see any kind of hardship I faced growing up. But now I wonder if I made a mistake. My wife's words are like fire. My wife, Abina, is a good woman in many ways. She takes care of the home, ensures our needs are met, and is generous. But when she speaks, oh, how she speaks. She insults without hesitation. She speaks down to the household, disrespects elders, and even corrects me in front of others in a way that leaves me embarrassed. And now I see it in my children. They speak without control. They do not respect anyone, not even their teachers. I hear them talk back. And instead of correcting them, my wife laughs and says they are just being bold. Bold? No, they are being rude. A generation without discipline. I have tried to discipline them, but my wife stops me. She says we are rich now, let them enjoy life. But I ask myself, is wealth a reason to forget wisdom? Wealth can buy them cars, good schools, and a comfortable life. But without character, where will they end up? I see them waste money without care. They do not understand hard work. They refuse to do chores because we have house help. And what frightens me the most, my daughters do not even know how to cook, clean, or even wash. When I talk to my wife, she yells at me. I suggested that they learn basic cooking, but my wife forbids it. She says, why should they suffer? We can afford chefs and housemaids. I watch them order food daily, unable to boil rice or fry an egg. I imagine them as wives someday, wives who cannot cook for their own children. And what about my sons? Well, they grow up into men who believe that money is the only thing that matters. If my wealth disappears tomorrow, will they survive? I feel like I am losing control. My children are going in the wrong direction. My wife's influence over them is stronger than mine. And yet, if I push too hard, my home may break. What should I do? Should I force discipline when my wife opposes me? Or should I accept that this is the new generation where money replaces morals? I fear for my children's future. I fear for the kind of adults they will become. Please, what should I do? This is a very interesting story. There are so many parts to the story. We have the issue of a husband and a wife not on the same line, on the same page. A wife disrespecting the husband in front of the children, a husband not having a good grip of control in his home. We have the issue of children with misguided values and morals. A wife who thinks money is everything and so kind of disrespects people. it's a broad story, but we'll try and make sure that we have the discussion within the 1 hour that we have to be on air today. So let's just go straight into the conversation and talk about financial comfort. Do you think that, wealth is a blessing?
Yeah. Yes.
I won't sit here and act as if money is not good. Money is great.
Yeah.
Money in our part of the world solves a lot of problems, because with this world, that's especially in these parts that we find ourselves, basic necessities like basic health care is now even expensive. It has become a thing of the rich when it should be something that every human being should be able to afford. Yeah. So money is very necessary. We should all work hard to make money. I concur. I like soft life as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here to come and preach, hardship, or that is not the purpose for this conversation. Money is good, yes, but when does money become, the Bible says, root of all evil? When does it become the evil in the home? And also, is it the money itself, or is how we manage the money? I guess my question is, does financial comfort automatically lead to spoiled children? Or can wealthy parents still be able to raise, children that have a good head on their shoulder, children that still have good morals? Solomon, I'll start with you.
All right. I want to quote this. I want to quote from a famous author. His name is Matt Walsh. He said, parenting is the easiest thing in the world to have an opinion about, but the hardest thing in the world to do.
Okay.
So being a parent is not something, anyone can have an opinion about being parent.
Absolutely.
But it's very difficult thing to do.
I agree.
But I don't believe financial world should lead to being indisciplined. No. The woman in this scenario is not a disciplined person.
Okay.
That's what I believe.
Okay.
The man at the onset left the caring of the children to this woman alone, whilst he is busily looking for money to care for his family. You see, so that's where the evilness of money comes in.
Okay.
You leave your home at the expense of your family. In the notion, or in the saying that you are going for, you want a better life for your family.
Okay,
I think it's something that you have to be very careful with that. And the woman influence had taken a lead in the children's life.
Okay.
Whilst the man was away, the woman was actually the leader, the husband of the house. And the woman had taken control over the house. And it's a mistake that many men we do.
Okay.
When you are busy searching for money, trying to survive, trying to find money for the family, you also have to balance it with the family life. You can do research, and then you come across that there are a lot of people who have regretted that decisions. They were busy, working hard to care for the family, working hard to get a lot of money, but at the end, their homes are left unattended. Yeah. And I think it's a mistake that men do.
Yeah, I agree. Abigail, I don't know if you have something to add to it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. If I ask you your own question.
We know the Bible tells us that men are the heads of the family.
Yeah.
But what I would also add is the women are the neck of the family. So if the man is the head, the woman is the neck, and it's the neck that will direct where the head will go. And so as I sit here, without the neck, the head cannot do anything. Yeah. So just like my brother said, as the man was working hard to get money to cater for the family, the woman was the manager. And she was supposed to know how to take care of the money that the man was bringing. And so in this case, if the woman neglects her responsibility, the man is looking for money. It's right that he has to get money. But the woman as a manager needs to control the house, needs to let the children know how to deal with the things in the house. And we all know that mothers are the first teachers. They are the primary teachers. And so when in the house, it's your mother who is responsible to tell you how to dress, how to do this, even how to spend your money. So if the woman neglects that responsibility, then the children will begin to do whatever they like.
I agree with you, and I think it perfectly runs smoothly into my next question to you. That would have been the role of a mother and a wife, and then I would ask clearly from your submission, it's clear that a woman or a mother's impact on the children is very, very influential. And so how does the mother impact the children's upbringing? And is it a fair point or a fair statement for me to say that mothers shape the home? Because being a midwife, I'm sure the first contact of the child is the mother. I'm sure when you take the baby out and you clean it up, you just hand it over to the mother, lays on the chest, feeding happens and all that. So even from biology, if you're not even going to use scripture, even from biology where you have a child and the child comes up, we see the connection between the child and the mother. And so it speaks to the influence that a mother has on her children in her home. And that is what I would like you to speak a little on about.
Okay, so just like you first mentioned, when a baby is brought out, we give the baby to the mother, and we are building the connection, emotional connection. So mothers are responsible for the emotional development of their children. And so if you are in a home where the mother is always sad, the mother is addicted to some substances and other things, it has effects on the children.
Okay.
And mothers also shape the cognitive abilities of their children. So I can't remember when I was very young, my mother would be beating me every day to write my first copybook.
Right.
And it starts from that time. Your mother is your first teacher, so mothers also play the role in building the cognitive ability of their children. And mothers also make sure they inculcate the habit. We have like some soft skills. So if I'll talk about communication skills, even cooking skills. And so if a mother is timid, it has impact on the children. If you are brought up by a mother who is she is always courageous, she has high self-esteem, it has impact on the children. So these three key things, what I've mentioned already about the cognitive, the emotional, and the soft skills, they are some of the things or the roles that the mother plays in the lives of the children.
I can understand. And when you gave an example of when you were younger, your mother was beating you, it reminded me of this story. And so when I got married and then I moved into my husband's house, for a while, he had never seen me wash before because we could use the machine or do laundry. And I needed to wash with my hands because I just needed to wash with my hands. And I started, it was just some few things. And then I washed the first one and I put in the second bowl. And then I was going to wash the second one again. And so he comes and he sees me and then he says, "Why are you washing twice?" And then the first response was, "That's how my mother taught me." I didn't even know why I was washing twice. So I just said, "Oh, that's how my mother taught me. That's how we used to do it at home." And then he said, so he asked the question, he said, "So because that's how your mother taught you, like, that's what you do, there's no change." So I stood back and I listened and I said, "Well, it makes sense because maybe the second time you wash it better, it's cleaner." And then he said, "So why won't you wash it better the first time?" And I said, "You know what, leave me alone. This is what I know and this is what I am going to do." So it speaks to the fact that sometimes even when we do things without knowing where it is coming from, and it's from our background, influence from our parents, and so that makes a lot of points. Let's come to gender roles. Our parts, we have our generation from millennials, Gen Z going. Gender roles is a huge conversation. We are not very traditional in most of the ways we do our things. It's not a woman must cook, a woman must clean, a woman must wash anymore. We argue that we're also going to the office and we are working, and some of us are in big positions and we are working and coming home sometimes even later than the men, and so gender roles in our generation is not necessary or important. And so this man is questioning, "Oh, my children cannot cook, they can't even fry egg, they can't boil rice, how would they be able to marry?" And the wife is saying, "We can afford chefs and housemaids, and so what is the problem?" Gender roles, should girls be tagged to be the cooks in the house, and should men be tagged to be the providers and the ones that throw away the trash in the house? Or do you think in this our generation that is not necessary anymore, especially when it comes from a very comfortable background where you don't even have to light any fire because Auntie Amma He puts it on fire for you, you know. Still, when I come to you, being a married man, looking at how you're managing at home with your beautiful wife, I'll come to you and ask you that question.
I personally disagree.
Okay.
That that it's boys or it's women's duty to be always at the kitchen. No, it's something past. At first, because women were not supposed to go to school. That was the reason why they were, our parents used most of the ladies in the house to cook, and because the guys were going to school and then they were doing all the other stuff, the tedious work. But now it's changing. The world is changing.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't believe it should only be the responsibility of the ladies to be at the kitchen.
Okay.
No, the parents must actually teach both ladies and men on how to go about things. Their children, if they have only boys, they have to teach them how to cook, how to do all the chores in the house, and I think it will help. And one thing that I see at when you go to university is you see guys are making their own food. Yeah, and if you don't teach your...
you starve.
Yeah, you go there and you're starving. So me personally, my mom actually taught me how to, to cook and then do banku and other stuff.
Okay. So you can...
Oh yeah.
Is it the one hand or the couples with it?
Or the couples with it. Yeah. So I do it.
Okay.
Every Friday I have to make sure that I drive the banku with my wife.
That's nice.
Oh,
That's
yes.
good.
And sometimes in the morning, it depends. Sometimes she will wake up and then I'm done with the food in the house. Yes.
So in your opinion, cooking or gender roles is not specific to a gender. Anybody at all should be able to do anything and everything.
Anybody should learn something. Because the world is changing.
Yeah.
You get married and then maybe your wife might be a busy person.
Yeah.
So what will you do? Are you going to starve? Or you be ordering food from outside?
Like this story that the children are always...
And I think it's not the best. And we should actually be advising parents to, no matter how rich you are.
Yeah.
There was this woman that I know, and she was very rich. She was very rich. She was working with some big company, but I don't want to because it's on television. I don't want to mention. So unfortunately, things got sad. It changed dramatically, and like they were from Rodi family to Nada, from Prada to Nada. Very rich, but all of a sudden, that's how the world is.
Life is very unpredictable.
So if you don't teach your children on how to go about things in the house, menial jobs in the house, and then you think money is going to stay there, I don't think so. Because you can get this guy Mike Tyson was very rich, and Donald Trump, former president, was his financial secretary. And now Mike Tyson is down and Donald Trump is up. That's how the world is. So you should not expect that always you are going to be at the top. You have to know that the world changes, so you have to do your best to train your child in a way that when it is tough, he can face it.
Yeah.
When it's soft, he can also face it.
Right. Hey, I completely agree with you, Solomon. And I think
I wanted to add something to the woman's the role of woman and wife.
Yeah.
I believe that before a child is given birth, the father is already 9 months late with bonding to the child.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They even say 10 for 40 weeks, no?
40 weeks. It's kind of
Now, 9 months, the father, you don't have any access to the child. The child is in the womb of the woman, bonding with the woman.
Yeah.
So immediately the person is delivered, she delivers the child, already you are late.
Yeah.
As a man, and you are going to start like now you are also coming in to bond with the child, and that is where the men, I'm talking about, because I'm a man, I want to share my experience. You have to make sure that you get closer to the child. Otherwise, you're going to make mistake. The mistake of you losing control of the house. Because in the womb of the child, in the womb of the woman, the child is having that connection with the woman. And then during breastfeeding, the child also gets bonded. It gets bonded to the
mother.
Yes. And some of the psychologists, they say at the age of 3 years, 90% of the memory of a child is developed. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's approximately.
Yes, 3 years,
Approximately,
90%.
Yeah.
And according to psychologists, there is this theory called mother-infant dance theory by John Bowlby's. And he was saying that during that stage, if the father, you don't get closer to the mother, so that you share the responsibility of you bonding with the child, and then you abstain yourself from the woman, and then sometimes, you know, when some people, they give birth, they send their wife to their mother, and then they'll be away working. During that time, that's where the child needs you. And it's a mistake that men are doing. When they give birth, first, immediately you see them, the lady is pregnant, they send the lady away, or the way they get closer to the woman, it changes. Because now she's she's nagging, she's doing that because the hormonal changes. She starts to nag, and so men also feel that, no, Charlie, let me stay somewhere and then get my peace. But that's when you need to do your best. If you don't do it at that stage, and you leave the child to the woman to be bonding with the child for that period, I'm sorry, man, you're going to lose control of your house. Yes.
I can see exactly what you're talking about. Abigail, I'll ask you about the gender roles again, and especially in the homes of the rich people. Is it necessary for them to have gender roles, or to you think it's a survival
of the
not necessarily of the fittest, but things like cooking and knowing how to take care of a home is just something that you need to do to survive? What is your opinion on that?
Okay, thank you. My brother has said a lot about that, but I want to hammer on some of the importance of these gender roles. As he rightly said, we shouldn't say that girls are supposed to do this, boys are supposed to do that, but we need to share roles. So if you come to my home, for instance, my mother has made sure that this person is in charge of the dishes, this person is in charge of sweeping. So when we wake up, nobody will tell you, go and do this, you know your work already. So with that, the first importance I will talk about is it creates a sense of independence. So when you are away, I went to the boarding house when I was in class 4.
Really?
Yes, my first time. So when I was in class 4, at that time I had already experienced like taking a lot of tasks and other things. So when I wake up, I know I have to wash, I know I have to lay my bed, do this, do that. So if you don't instill that habit, you don't make the children have that sense of responsibility. When they are away, they cannot be independent because at that time, Auntie Millicent is not there to come and lay the bed. Maybe Auntie Georgina wouldn't be there to sweep. So it gives them that independence. And the second one is teaching them how to cook. It's healthy because now you will sit in your comfort zone and order for food. You don't know where the food is coming from. You don't know how it was prepared.
Thank you, Madam Midwife.
You don't know how it was prepared. Even the one you are cooking, look at how sometimes you do it. And this that somebody is doing. So for your health and your well-being, it's good to teach your children how to cook. And it's also teaches them humility. My first time preparing groundnut soup, that day.
You didn't really choose there. You didn't choose life. Life soup is the most common groundnut soup. I wonder if you don't do it, so everybody get ready to work it down.
That time we had visitors, and I was trying my luck. And you see, that very first time, I regretted. I was humbled because the process you go through before that food will be ready, it will humble you.
I know what you're talking about.
And it creates that sense of gratitude because some people, because they just order food, they sit there and people would cook for them. They don't know how stressful it is.
Yeah.
They are not grateful for the food they are eating. So when you teach them, they know that hard work is really important, and cooking too is also another way of instilling that sense of responsibility in them too.
I completely agree with you. I think sometimes we take for granted some of these roles that people do in the homes that is very, to you, is very easy to do. You see somebody that is quick to clean, and in your mind, oh,
it's easy.
It's just sweeping, it's just mopping, it's not big. You see somebody that loves to cook, and in your mind, oh, I'm sure this person there, they don't mind standing on their feet for 2 hours cooking. Like you're saying, if you ever find yourself in that position where you realize that, hey, this thing that the person has been doing every day, it's not easy, you begin to have a different sense of appreciation for the work that they do. So I completely agree. We have to go and break, but before we go, I want us to look at balancing discipline and love. You can see that this woman, she, in her opinion, she loves her children to death. Like, she's spoiling them, she telling them not to do anything, is the way of showing love to the children. And so when she sees that anybody wants to discipline them or wants to tell them to do any sort of work, to her, the person doesn't love the children. And so she sees it as, no, I need to make sure you don't do this, even to the point of telling the father that you can't discipline them like this, you can't do this like that. And children are very, very manipulative.
Yes.
When children see that mother and father are not on the same tangent, trust me, see, they will push and pull until they get their way. You know that this one, so you see sometimes they sit there and then they'll come and ask you, Daddy, I want this. Because they know when they ask mommy, mommy will say no. So they say, oh, the daddy is easy, this one, daddy will give it to me, then they'll come to daddy. And then if something else, they'll go to mommy. Those little terrorists are very, very smart. Like, they are so smart. Sometimes we underestimate how smart children are. And so my question with balancing discipline and love is, like, when parents disagree on discipline, what's the best way to go about it? Is it in front of the children when daddy has said, you go and bring your whatever tablets, you are not watching TV for a week, then now mommy will come and say, oh, take it, it's okay, go and watch it. When is it the right time for you to talk about disciplining? And then how do you handle when there is discord and disagreement? Solomon, let me take you.
All right. I think parenting is a business. Yeah, it's a business. That's what I want to tell anyone who is watching us. Parenting is a business, and we don't have to joke with it. Because Solomon, being the wisest man in the Bible, he was not able to, take care of his...
he had his own...
He was all his wisdom. The son, actually, he splitted... the kingdom into two. Samuel, the prophet, who was receiving prophecies from God, his children were also in discipline.
The children will humble you. They will just make you feel.
So, parenting, you should dialogue. It's a business, and you don't have to take it. It's a business on its own. Parenting is a business on its own, and you have to, just as you invest time in how to go about your daily business, where you get your financial support. You have to, just as you spend time for that business, you also have to spend time with parenting. So I believe it's when the parents they understand that what they are actually they are catering for is a business, and they have to come together like a CEO and then the employee coming together to work together for the good of the company. So the mother and then the father they have to sit down, they have to dialogue on how to discipline their children. So even sometimes it's not about what you say, it's even about your actions towards the children. Can also say something. So it's about two. It takes two to tango. It's not only one. So you have to sit down. I think the background is very important. What you as the father, what you tell your wife, that we are bringing this person into this world, and this how I want us to go about discipline. You have to do it behind the scene
before they even come.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't have to
wait when
No,
they
no,
come
no.
before
Very good. So when the child comes, you know.
everything is in place?
Yes.
Yeah.
So even your eye.
It's not the African parent.
Yeah, your
They
eye.
don't say stop.
Yes.
They just look at
Run.
you.
Yes.
And then you know that
Yes.
this one means 1K,
Oh,
this one
yes.
means 2K.
Yes.
So you behave yourself.
Me, my father, he has never beaten me
My
before.
father is never, if my father touches you, he will literally die. He's tall and he's thick.
Yeah, okay.
You can't touch
Me, my father is not that tall.
Yeah.
He's not that
My
tall.
father is very
But you know something? He used to, tell us to go to church early in the morning, in the village. In the morning around, 5, you have to wake up, and then 4:30, you have to go to church before you come back, and then you prepare to go to farm. So my father, immediately that you see, you didn't go to church. You have to, either you be at the farm before he comes
there.
back.
Okay.
Because when he comes, the whole day he's going to be moody.
And you will know why. Okay.
So you see,
Yeah,
it's
the
not about
points.
you talking. Sometimes, we think the talking is the solution to the problem. I think the background first, you have to do the background thing. As a parent, you have to do the background. Then secondly, I think when there is something like that, you don't have to talk as a man. Me as a man, you don't have to talk. Men don't talk a lot. They do actions. As a man, you don't have to talk much. If the child is doing something, you wait. If you do all your antics and then it's not working, call your wife inside and then tell her what you're doing. It will actually affect the children, and it will actually affect us. So, and I think it will work out.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that parenting, like we've said, it's not an easy task.
Oh yes.
And you can have opinions all you want until you find yourself being a parent.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that children they learn from observation more than talking. So what you're doing is what they are picking, not necessarily what you are saying.
Yes.
And yeah, I agree. And different, everybody and how they're disciplined. Like you clearly said, my father's never touched me before. He will never hit you. But the look he will give you, so much, a look of disappointment, you feel like,
Yes.
But my mother will use bankuta to beat you. Like she will just, that's her discipline, and you know that is her way. So I think I agree. Have the conversation before the children come.
Yes.
And by the time they are in, you have your thing aligned.
Yes.
So when they are trying to manipulate you, you know that thing of, Daddy, I want this, go and ask mommy. Mommy, I want this. What did Daddy say? Daddy said, come and ask you, okay, let's sit down. Then they know that you guys are together, so that they won't come and say, Mommy said, give me this, or Daddy said, give me that. Let me take your opinion.
My wife used to say something. She says, when our child comes and then he's misbehaving, I will give him a knock. And I'll tell her, and if you give her a knock, him or her a knock, I'm also going to give you a knock. So, already, though we've not given birth, but already we have something that knocking or doing some physical.
At least you had that conversation that we are not engaging in
yes.
that. Yes, at least there's an understanding.
Yes.
Abigail, before we go on the break, your thoughts on the balancing discipline and love.
Okay, so just like you said, his was a background conversation, but in my case, I want us to talk about it when the thing has happened. Okay. So just like the story. Yeah. So now the children are misbehaving because of what the woman is doing. So in my point of view, I think effective communication is key in every relationship.
Absolutely.
Even in our relationship with God, we need to communicate with Him through prayer. And so we have to have effective communication. And so in this process, the man does not have to speak like in front of the children, just like you said. He shouldn't call her out in front of the children. They need to go somewhere in a private or in the room, and when they are all calm, they will discuss it. And one thing I want to emphasize on is that you shouldn't keep on blaming the other person. You should be using words like I believe this thing, I know, I have observed. So just make it look like she's not the problem. When you do it that way, the woman would be ready to listen to you. And when you guys have discussed about the issue, you have to come to, like, don't forget your vision as a couple, because wherever people lose vision, they will perish. Yeah. So the Bible makes it clear, where there is no vision, the people perish. So as a couple, what did you agree before you became a couple?
Yeah.
You know, this marriage is not just anything. It's part of discipleship.
Yeah.
And whatever we are doing here, the Bible tells us that we have to make our homes like a small heaven.
Yes.
And so if we want to bring heaven down here, what do we expect from the heaven that we are bringing down here? And so we shouldn't forget the vision, the mission for which you came together as a couple.
Yeah.
So you are raising the children. It's part of discipleship.
Yeah, I
Jesus said
agree.
we should go and make disciples, but it starts from your house.
Yes.
And so as you are in your home, you need to make sure you, the couple, don't forget the main goal for which you came. You became one. Sorry, and you also have to come to one common ground. So after you've deliberated on the reason why you even gave birth to children, you want them to behave well, you want them to grow up to be responsible adults. And so if that is your goal, then what are we going to do? Then you talk things out. After talking things out, then one thing that parents sometimes neglect is when, just like you said, the children are very manipulative.
Yeah.
And so when they come to mommy says this, daddy will say that. So when it comes to that one too, parents have to be very critical about it.
Very smart.
Because it might be unintentional. When your child comes to you, what you tell the person might be different from when the child went to the mom or the dad. So you have to be conscious about that one. And when it comes to punishment, to when, let's say, your husband is punishing your child, as a woman, don't stand in front of your child and tell the person what daddy is saying, don't mind him. We mostly do that mistake. You say, oh, don't mind daddy. If daddy hits, don't mind him. So the child will be like, daddy hates me, but mommy loves me. So when you are in your private room and talking about things, you have to come to one conclusion that if a child does this, this is what we are going to do, so that the child wouldn't get way
To be
manipulating. Yes.
and then making sure there's a weakness here and come and then okay. I completely agree.
Sure.
I completely agree.
And we also have to understand that and this thing we are doing is ministry, as I already said. So we cannot take God out of the matter. And so God has to be the center of it. If you are finding challenges in your family, don't neglect God. Go back to the source, because if we lose focus, everything will be in vain, everything we are doing.
Absolutely.
So through prayer, through reading of scriptures and showing love to them will bring them together.
I completely agree. And speaking about the big picture, my church, Pesa Chris Emmanuel, had a program for marriage couples and even singles. It's called the Marriage Boot Camp. And one of the things that I took away from that seminar was, as a family, to have a mission statement and a vision statement.
It's very important.
And then all of you should be aligned. All of you should know. In fact, it should be so common in the house that you should be able to recite it like the way you recite the Lord's Prayer. And so the husband knows the vision and the mission of the family, the wife knows. By the time the children are coming, or if the children are already in, they know that with this house, this is what we do. So you hear people that say, hey, as for this family, they don't lie. Just because of how they've lived their lives from generation, and it is known. Oh, as for this family, they are very hardworking. Oh, as for this family, they are godly. And then it has negative effects. Oh, as for this family, when you mess with them, they'll kill you. Like, we hear these things. And that is because they have decided to live, regardless of whether it's positive or negative. Hopefully, it will be positive. They live according to the mission and the vision of their family. And when it's so clear and the children come in, they will know that. They will even say things, hey, as for my house, we don't, when they are playing with their friends, as for my house, we don't say abua, we don't say kwasia, because they know that it is not allowed at home. So these are some of the things that parents need to do. We'll have to go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at dangers of overindulgence, the husband's dilemma, and finally how they can get out of this situation. We'll be right back. This is Real Talk. Do not go anywhere.
Hello and welcome to Watch These Signs only on Hope Channel Ghana.
Like in the book of Macbeth, it said, be the innocent flower, but the serpent underneath it.
And here the Bible says, Satan is disguised as an angel of light.
Right.
So we hear, oh, Jesus, Jesus. So you
Yeah.
think that because they are mentioning Jesus,
You might think that is Jesus.
that is you found Christianity.
You are in the den of Satan. Because of what is happening in the world today, the wildfire of occultism is spreading. That is why rings of ministers are becoming very, very, very controversial, and yet people are using it. The source is not from the Bible.
So is that this show Bible discussion is not just for people who profess Christianity, but for all of us.
Welcome back from that quick break. We are still in the studios of Hope TV Ghana, coming your way with Real Talk. My name is Evie. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, Hope TV Ghana. I hope you're leaving your comments, your thoughts, and your suggestions in the comment box. I have been doing this with Solomon and Abigail. If you just joined us, you have missed a whole chunk of the program. But not to worry, we are talking about a man and a wife who have children, a very rich man. And his dilemma is that his wife is overindulging the children. They are irresponsible. They are not disciplined. The wife can insult. You know, she can talk, she can insult, she's rude. And the children have picked up this attitude. They don't do anything. All they do is order food online. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. They don't know how to take care of themselves. They're rude. They talk back. And the wife is preventing him from disciplining the children. Anytime he tries, she stands in the way. And so now his problem is this the way to go? Because he can see that his children's future is not going to be great if they continue this way. And so he's asking, is it wrong to be rich? Is this how rich people's children grow up? Or is there a way he can still have money and still have responsible, morally upright children? We've been having the conversation in the studio, and again, as I said, I've been doing this with Solomon and Abigail. And we are going to look at the dangers of overindulgence. Our time is fast spent, so we are going to be quick about it. And I'm going to start with you, Abigail, and ask, what are the long-term effects of overindulgence, of not disciplining your children, of allowing them to do whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do, and speak however they want to speak? What are some of the consequences of that?
Okay, thank you. So what I would like to say is, just like you said, overindulgence is when a parent give the children their ways, like the parent does not set boundaries as to what they should do, as to where they should go. And so when we look into this, one, it creates a sense of irresponsibility. And because they don't have any boundaries, they do things anyhow. And some of these kids become so entitled to certain things. And let's say when they go to a place, they think people are supposed to serve them.
They're very entitled.
Yes. If they are supposed to sit here, they want somebody to clean it for them because of how they've been brought up.
Yeah.
And another thing I would speak about is they cannot manage their time well. They cannot manage money. They do things anyhow. And when children are like that, wherever they go, they are not comfortable. And it's even like they find a lot of problems in building relationship with other people. Because if if I'm your friend, let's say Solomon is coming from a family where he has been given the opportunity to do anything anyhow, and when we become friends, Solomon will be expecting a lot of things from me. He wants me to serve him, and always they'll be finding problems.
Of course.
It breaks relationships. So I think these are some of the things that children brought up by parents who gave them the opportunity to do anything anyhow will face.
Yeah, and I think, look at when you go to university and you are rooming with somebody that has an upbringing that's totally different from yours. You don't understand why they've left the dishes in the sink. You don't understand why they cannot wash the pots after cooking. You don't understand why they cannot wash the bathroom. And they are so comfortable with the lifestyle. You see them sleeping on their bed and you're asking, can you see that there's dishes all over in the sink and our room is beginning to smell? You can't live with such people. So yeah, living with other people becomes very difficult for children like that. Solomon, any more options before I ask you that?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. It leads the children to be irresponsible people. And I think we have to do our best as parents we have to set boundaries, you know, and I think it starts with the parents. The parents, when you are extravagant in your doings, you do things anyhow, I think it's also have effects on the children.
Yes.
There are some parents, there was this guy that I met. He smokes, and then he was not just smoking, he was smoking hard drugs.
Okay, so
he does drugs
in all kinds of ways.
Okay.
And he told me that he was around 7 years thereabout that he started serving his father those things.
Oh, okay.
So his father will tell him, don't drink. But he is the person who is sending this guy to go and buy those things. So it got to a time that, he was, stealing himself to do all those things. Yes. So I think it starts with the parents, how you do your things, how you are extravagant in your things. They will learn unconsciously.
Oh yeah, from observation.
Yes.
My mother talks anyhow. This is how she speaks. So you will speak like that, and you would think it's normal.
And it will let people outside know where you are coming from.
Yes.
Yes.
You know that thing, growing up when, now that we say nuclear families where people can't touch people's children, but growing up where everybody was your mother and your auntie and could discipline you, if you talk anyhow, they can say that, oh, according to mommy, they will just directly point you to your house. Yeah. That's how they are. Yeah. And
again, the parents should not think they are smarter
than the children.
That's what sometimes they do. They think, oh, as for this, they won't see.
Yeah.
So they will do it behind the scenes. You know, they know.
Of course they know.
They know.
Children are very smart.
So anything that you're doing, you don't think you have to let your you be you. Yeah. Let your yes be yes. Let your no be no. Let them know who you are. Yeah. Don't pretend. Pretending, it's something that is also having effects on the children.
Of course, yeah. Okay, so a final point about biblical perspective. So looking at that, we are looking at what does the Bible say about parenting, disciplining, and then a woman's role in the house. Abigail.
Okay, so we've already spoken a lot about the Bible and how the Bible talks about parenting. I would send us back to the Garden of Eden. You know that marriage was established by God Himself. And so I think parenting, it's a sacred responsibility. And so as parents, if we want to know how to guide our children, train them, as Proverbs chapter 22 says, that train up a child the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. And so we have to make God the center of our families. And the Bible has given us insightful stories about people that we can learn from. So taking the story of Esther, for instance, Esther was not brought up by her parents, her biological parents, but by Mordecai. And we know parenting, it's not by your biological parents alone.
Yes.
People outside can be your parents. Some people even adopt children. And so
teachers are parents.
Yes.
Like anybody that is older that teaches you something or has an impact of you.
It's a parent. Yes. And so all these people have to understand that we get our source, like we get our ways of training children from God. And God has given us a lot of instructions, principles in the Bible. So if you lack wisdom about how to train your child, go to the scriptures. And talking about Hannah, if we talk about Hannah per se, she liked praying. And so, you know, if you have a prayerful mother like Hannah, the child would automatically inculcate it in his or her life. And so the Bible gives us numerous stories that when we read, we can learn from those stories and know how to train our children. So
absolutely, I agree. And I think that's when, like we say, when we said children learn from observation, it is true, because sometimes you just look at how your mother or your father does his things, and then you pick it up. And even sometimes when you are going through life, let me use myself an example. Anytime I'm going through something that is challenging and I feel like it's over me and I'm tired and I just feel drained, I just go like, my mother is there. That woman, she can pray like something. I'll just call her and tell her that, see, there's this person that is disturbing me. She said, give me his name, put it on paper for me, I'll pray over you. Like, it's funny and all that, but at the back of my mind, I know that if I need somebody to stand in prayer for me, there's somebody I can go to who is my mother. So imagine you are not that for your child. So your child will be walking through life, not knowing how to pray. And when they get to the point where they feel they cannot pray anymore, they don't know where to go for help again. And that's where they fall in the hands of the wrong people. So being a solid foundation for your children is key, in my opinion. So, Mon, your words on the biblical perspective so we can go.
Yes, you know, don't underestimate the power of a prayer mother who prays. Yeah. Don't underestimate, because prayer is very important, as it's been established. And again, the Bible has many instructions concerning how to, you know, go about parenting. And I think when you read Proverbs chapter 13, verse 13, it's the same thing. It talks about the same thing. When you go to Proverbs chapter 23, verse 13, it also talks about, but I want to quote one, so that Proverbs chapter 23, verse 13 says, withhold not corrections from the child, for if that beatest him with a rod, he shall not die. It's the same thing when it comes to...
Don't spare the rod and spoil the child.
Very good. When it comes to Proverbs chapter 29, verse 15, it's the same thing. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to him, to himself, bring his mother to shame. So you see, the Bible, when you see a quotation being repeated in the Bible, as a theology student, what I want to let you know, it's God is particular with that. He's making an emphasis. Yeah. It is emphasis.
That we should pay attention.
Yes. So we have to discipline our children. We don't have to just leave them to themselves, because at the end they'll bring shame to you. So the Bible has given us directions. This is our guide on how to go about parenting. Books can do, and all stuff can do. Prayer is good, but you need the word of God, which is the sword that can, you know, cut the left and right. Because it's just like a child is like, let me say, a tree. If you don't shift it to if you want a shade, you have to actually cut some of the and then you spread the leaves, the branches, so that you can get the shade. But if you don't do it and you allow it to grow in tall,
one direction,
you won't get the shade. That is how our children are. They are like trees, and it is up to we the parents to shape the child in a way that we want him to be. But shaping the child, it's the sword. We need a sword. You can't, you know, shape a tree with your hand. No. You shape the tree with sword or cutlass, and that cutlass is the word of God. And I believe God has given us a lot, and Ministry of Healing and a lot of books from Ellen White's, I think, also help on parenting. So I believe God has not leave us on our own to go about things. God is there with us. And if there is anything, sometimes you have to be. Last time there was this woman who was complaining that it starts in the home, and I said it's true. But sometimes when you send your word to the school, to the university, me for instance, when I went to Pembroke College, and my father and my mother, they never visited me. They never visited me. Which is not good.
They should come and see whether you've started growing hair in places that you shouldn't.
You see? And that is what sometimes we do. God never leaves his children alone. God always visits us every Sabbath to come and bless us.
Every day.
You love it. Just
under his like sanctuary. At least we'll see him.
Yes, Sabbath every day, every Sabbath. You know, you have a place where you know you're going to meet God. So that should be what parents we have to take. Let me say, example from the Bible. And that's what parents they bring their children to the university.
They go.
And that's all. And what do you expect? You expect him to or her to come out like I don't think it's going to work. So we have to do our best.
Thank you so much. Just 30 seconds.
Okay, sure. So I want to say that the discipline we are talking about, it's not the punitive aspect alone, but the formative.
Yeah.
Because when we want to discipline our children, our main focus is to form or refine their behavior. And so in and of itself, we have to let our children know the reason behind the punishment. That we are not punishing you because we love caning you, just like the Bible said. But we want your behavior to change. We want you to be refined, reformed. And one thing I regret, should I say regretted, I normally feel sorry for myself because at times I think about it that when my mother beats me or she shouts at me or yells at me, she doesn't tell me the reason why she's done it. And I'll be like, so what is wrong? What did I even do? So you have to let the child know the reason why. So if I know I take this particular item, you're going to do this, and you don't want me to send it outside, like I'll go and steal people's items. That's why you are punishing me, then I agree and I'll refrain from that. And even God himself, when the children of Israel went astray, went worshipping idols, he punished them, but still he drew them closer to and made them understand that I did this because
they said you forgot me, you forgot my ways.
So we have to keep on reminding our children the reason why we are punishing them. Not that we hate them, but we want them to grow up to be better adults.
Yes, to live in society with everybody else. And there's this quote that I came across. Was it a quote that I came across? I picked it off a movie. I never know where I pick these things from. But it said that if you don't discipline your children, the world will discipline them for you.
Oh, yes.
And the world's discipline, trust me, it is not nice.
It's awful.
The world's discipline is wicked. It's either they are lynching your child, they are putting you in jail, something
like that.
Yeah, it's horrible. So you looking at you telling your child no, go and sleep without watching TV, thinking that is the worst thing ever. The world will discipline your child in a way that you cannot even sit back and reflect on. So it will be better for us parents to do the discipline than leave it to the world to discipline our children. I'd like to say a big thank you to Solomon Kofi Boakye.
Can I say one thing?
You have just a second because our time is gone.
But one thing I want to say, men should not underestimate mom's influence on kids.
Absolutely.
So they have to be careful with.
Yes, the mothers have a lot of influence on children, and I even have a lot to say on that, but we do not have time. And so maybe we should do a part 2 of this conversation because it's quite big. But Abigail Adjoefie, thank you, Samuel Kofi Boakye, thank you so much for coming. Solomon Kofi Boakye, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back same time next week. But then until then, you can see that parenting is not a job for the weak. It's a very difficult task. And so before you decide to be a parent, ask yourself if you are ready to do this task that God has placed on your heart. It is not the issue of, oh, I'm married, so I'm going to have children. Trust me, if you do not raise the children up well, you'll be questioned on Judgment Day. It's one of the things that you can't hide from. If God is giving you this little soul in your custody as a custodian, you should make sure that you are the right guardian, you have the right skills to parent the children, because the next generation will be you people complain about millennials and Gen Zs. You have no idea what we will be raising if we are not conscious of becoming intentional parents who are raising morally upright children. Thank you so much for joining us this Wednesday. We'll be back same time next week with another interesting conversation. My name is Evie. But then until then, continue to enjoy the rest of the content at Hope TV. Have yourselves a lovely evening. Good night.
Hope Channel, changing lives.
Welcome once again to the evening devotion, a time where we can reflect on the Word of God. Tonight, we'll be reading Luke chapter 15, verses 18 and 19. May I kindly request you to get your Bibles as we open God's Word and read together. Luke chapter 15, and we read in verses 18 and 19. Let us hear the word of God. I will arise and go to my father, and will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. Imagine yourself in a large hall full of invitees, invited by a parent whose son had returned from jail. Imagine the son standing in the middle of the hall, hair neatly cut, beard smoothly shaved and smartly dressed, all at the father's expense. Imagine the son telling the story of his experience, and imagine the joy in the heart and face of the parents. A real celebration. On a closer look at the boy's face, you would find scars resulting from injuries he sustained while in jail. That is what sin does. Sin promises freedom, but it only brings slavery. It promises success, but it brings failure. It promises